Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today at this Lunch and Learn. We are going to be talking about the travel and expense system in SABHRS. It's been just about a year now since we started using the SABHRS T&E system the way we have it. And we want to do a little recap, a little training, and give you guys some updates. Just a reminder, this recording or this meeting will be recorded and we will be posting it on the hub for future use. There's a meeting scheduled, this one today, and another, which is a repeat of today's meeting, will be held next Thursday. So you're welcome to come again if you want to, but you certainly don't need to, but feel free to share it with others. If they are interested in attending, they'll have another opportunity. I have been fortunate enough to have Jamie Walkenhorst and Megan Alfson, who've agreed to do a bit of a presentation for us today to show how the system works. So we'll start with that in just a moment. As we're going, if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in the chat, and one of us will do our best to answer those. And at the end, we will have a question and answer system that we will be answering your questions live. Jamie and Megan, do you guys want to get started?
I'll start one little blurb real quick. Jamie is going to show how it is from more the employee side. And now that we've had a year under our belt, I will show some maybe hints and tricks from the supervisor side. So we're going to do them live. So the reports that she does, I'm going to actually go and approve as well. So then after she's done, I'll just kind of go over some high level reminders for everybody. But let Jamie start. Many
Hi,
of you know
everybody.
Jamie, so she's an expert. So thanks.
I hope you guys are all doing good today. We're just going to start. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So again, just like I've stated in other trainings and things that I've done, my screens may not look identical to yours, and then they might look identical to yours. Everyone's permissions are a little bit different, but everything that I'm going to be clicking on and showing you is stuff that you all should have permissions to see. So, you know, go ahead and you should have everything that you need. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to do a travel authorization. For travel authorizations, you need to do a travel authorization for anything that's out of state or if you're using your own vehicle. So we're just going to start. We'll just click on this Add Travel Authorization. Okay, so I'm going to show you because there's some people that last second have to travel or whatnot. Today we're going to start, and I'm going to show you that I can put in a travel authorization for today's date. I just cannot go back and put in a travel authorization for anything that is in the past. So if I traveled yesterday and I took my own vehicle, I cannot put in a travel authorization for that. You need to do this before you actually leave, even if you put it on the day that you leave. So the description is going to be the description that we always use, and that's the word travel and the dates. Okay, so the business purpose, I'm just going to do this little drop down, and I'm going to select in-state travel related. And you don't have to put in a comment. Anything that doesn't have the little asterisk, you don't need to do. Billing type is going to be internal. So I am traveling from, and I'm just going to put in the county. So obviously it's going to be the counties. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to go to Cascade County for a meeting. Okay, So we're going to travel from today's date. And I'm saying that this is going to just be a round trip. I'm going to leave today and I'm going to come back today. Okay. So we're going to go here and now we're going to select what our rate is for the miles. So if you travel less than 1,000 miles per month, then you can use the high rate. If you travel more than that, then you're going to use the standard rate. If you are using
Sorry,
your
Jamie.
own,
I'm
oh,
going to interrupt really quick.
sorry.
So for the low rate, it just means that is it. You're using that rate if like a motor pool vehicle is not available. And if you travel more than the 1,000 miles, you would actually use the personal vehicle low rate, not standard rate. The standard rate is if you are traveling and there is a motor pool vehicle available, but for some reason you are requesting to use your personal vehicle, then you would use the standard rate.
Regardless of how often you travel or how much?
So for the personal vehicle standard rate, yes, for it doesn't matter the number of miles in the month, how much you travel. If you're using the personal vehicle standard rate, it's the lower rate. And if you use that, but if you're using the high rate, which means there's no vehicle available, you're required to use your personal. If you travel over 1,000, you have to pick that personal vehicle low rate over 1,000. And it's for the month.
Okay, so I live in Helena. Obviously, there's a car, but I'm going to take my own personal vehicle because I don't know, I smoke and I want to be able to smoke when I drive. So, which is not true. But anyways, then I would take the standard rate.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Because there's a
Okay.
car available, but I'm using my personal vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, so for this, I'm going to select standard rate. I'm just saying that there may be a vehicle, but I'm going last minute, so I'm going to take my own vehicle. So I'm going to use the standard rate. Okay, the description is going to be the same description. Oop. Go. Okay, I'm going to click on details. And in the details, I'm going to say that this is going to be personal funds. It's going to be internal. And I'm going to put in my total amount that I am going. I'm not just going to do one way here. So, you know, a round trip to Great Falls is about 240 miles. And then I'll push done. And then I'll push save. With the save, you want to push save first because at this point it will pop up with any errors that you have. If you have any errors, you'll see different flags, red little flags on different spots that will show you where your errors are. I have no errors, so I'm going to push submit and then OK. And so now I have submitted my travel authorization. Okay, so there it is. It's in my submitted for approval. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and show you an out-of-state travel authorization. So then Megan has time to get her email so she can approve my authorization. So I'm just going to go to add travel authorization. Okay, descriptions can be travel. And I'm saying that I'm going to leave maybe tomorrow and I'm going to be back on the 23rd. Okay. So my business purpose is going to be out of state travel related. My billing type is going to be internal. I'm traveling from Lewis and Clark. And I'm going to go to, let's say, Spokane. All right, and remember these are the counties. And we're gonna pick tomorrow, and I'm going to come home the next day. So here you need to do is you're going to want to put in anything that you can think of. So um, I know that I said that I'm going to Spokane, but I'm going to pretend like I got a plane ticket. So we're going to do the airline charges. My description is going to be Delta. Oh, no, sorry. My description is going to be travel and the dates. My merchant is going to be Delta. I'd say my amount's going to be $500. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to think of everything that we're going to need. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to be spending the night. So I'm going to have lodging. So it's going to be lodging out of state. Okay. And we're just going to say, okay. And so the average amount we're going to say is going to be the 126 for the night. Okay. Okay, so I'm going over for a conference. So I need to put in how much the conference is actually going to cost me. So I'm going to do meeting and conference cost. Okay, I don't need to put merchant in there. In the description, you can put the conference name. I'm just going to say that I'm going to an accounting one. And the cost to my accounting conference is going to be $300. Okay. And then that's about all that I can think of. So we've got our airline, we've got our out of state, and we've got our conference. But what we need to do is we are going to need to add any attachments. So if you're going to a conference, we are going to need to attach the agenda to it. If you've already, bought your ticket, maybe any information that you can get, and different stuff. So you can attach your attachments here. So you go to add attachment, my device. I'm just going to attach something random that I have maybe on my desktop.
And while Jamie's looking for attachment, I did want to clarify you are not supposed to actually buy or register for the conference or plane tickets or anything
Yeah.
until the travel authorization is fully approved by the commissioner.
Okay. So then I found the meeting agenda. So I uploaded the agenda and push done. And then I push done. Oh, merchant. Okay, we're just going to say accounting is my merchant. And then see, that's why we kind of do the save, is it will show you where it was. I had a mistake. I needed to put in the merchant. I'm just saying it's accounting meeting. And everything should be good. You can add, if you know that you're going to have to Uber, You can go here. That's going to be ground transportation out of state. And I'm just going to say Uber. And I'm just going to say that I think that my Ubers are going to be $75. Okay, so now that I've got everything that I need, that I possibly could have to, use my Pro card for or anything else, I'm going to save. It looks like everything's fine, so I'm going to push submit and then OK. And it looks like I have some errors. So I'll click on this line and I'll say missing payment type. So we're going to go into details and we're going to have to put, I'm going to do personal funds because I don't have a Pro card. So I'm just going to do that. So I'm just going to go through, add all of my details. Okay, and then I'm going to push that save button one more time. It looks like everything's cleared out. I'll push submit, push OK. And then it will send an email to your supervisor for your supervisor to go in to approve it. After the supervisor approves it, then it'll head to the commissioner. For at least out of state. So. All right, and then I'll hand it back over to Megan.
Yes. So I will show the approval side and I want to show you two ways you can look. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So most people are, or if you're a supervisor, you're familiar that you will get an email from your employee saying they submitted it. So you can either, it'll tell you here's her in-state, here's her out-of-state. You can click on the link and it will take you to this screen to approve. You can look at it here. It tells you some basic information. But I did want to show you one other way is because sometimes I know as supervisors, we get a million emails, so they get lost. So another way to view any of your outstanding requests, if you go to your home page in SABHRS and go to expenses and your expense work center, you should, again, like Jamie said, my screen looks different than yours because I have a lot more stuff and more access, but everyone should have this My Approvals section in their expense work center. And so if you click on it, you can also see a list of all outstanding authorizations that you have to approve. So you can go in here and it looks like the same as the link that you got. You can go in here, you can view, the travel authorization details. It'll show everything that Jamie completed, etc. Sorry, I'm going to go here. I'm losing my screens. I don't approve a lot of travel authorizations, but here, and if everything looks good, you do what like you do, and that just shows the workflow. Sorry, it's been a while since I don't have this, so I apologize. I'm clicking too many things, but I'm going to go back to here. I'm only going to approve her travel for the mileage because I don't want to approve the one for out of state because I don't want it to go to the commissioner, but you can hit here and you hit approve. You can enter a comment. You don't have to. That's up to you, and hit submit. And then once it's approved, then Jamie will have the ability to attach the travel authorization to her expense report, which she is going to show you how to do when she creates her report. But this is just I wanted to show you this expense work center that shows you a way of finding any outstanding items you have to approve that you missed with the emails. Since I approved that one, I'm going to stop sharing and give it back to Jamie to do an expense report.
All right, so now I've gotten my email. So here's kind of the email that you get when your authorization has been approved. So I've got mine for my meals. So now we're kind of back at the start page. What we're going to do is we're going to click expenses, and then we're going to create an expense report. Okay, so at first it's going to bring you to this one. So it's in-state travel related because that's what I did on my travel authorization. The description is going to be the same as it was in the travel authorization. Okay, so the expense location is going to be where you are traveling to. So this is, here we go. Okay, the accounting date is going to be today. And then we are going to just add expense lines. So if you're doing something and you've used your Pro card, then you can add from My Wallet. You can fill it in here, and that will take you and show you, what's in your My Wallet, and you can select those and import those into your expenses. I'm not gonna show you that because I don't have a Pro card, so I don't have anything in my wallet. So I'm just gonna do add expense lines. Okay, so here, what we're going to do is we're going to do expense type. And I'm going to just select the personal vehicle standard rate. That's, one that I have used before, but, to select other things, you're just going to go to all types. But for this, I'm just going to select my personal rate. My description is going to be travel. And the date. And then in this one, if you want to, you can add more of a description like meeting in Great Falls. Okay, so my starting point is going to be so your county that you live in or that you have taken off from, so Lewis and Clark County. My end point is going to be Cascade. Okay, Cascade County. So here we're going to click that round trip because I'm driving there and back. If I was only driving one day, you would not click that. Okay, my miles are going to be 240. My payment is going to be personal funds. And then we are going to need to select my start time and end time. So I'm going to say that I took off at 8 o'clock this morning and I was home by 5 o'clock. Okay, so because I took off at 8 o'clock and I got home at 5 o'clock, the only meal that I'm eligible for is going to be my lunch. So I'm going to add a line to this, and it's just right here. You just click that add. My expense type, we're going to go to all types. Now I'll scroll down. So here's kind of the fun things you can select, your different meals. So make sure that if you're doing overnight that your meals have the meals in state overnight lunch or overnight breakfast. If you're not staying the night, then it's just meals and state breakfast. You can select these, or now we have the options to select all day. So say I left at 5 o'clock in the morning and I didn't get home until 9 o'clock at night. Then I can select meals in state all day, and that will put all of my meals onto one. So that would be right over here. And it cuts down on the amount of lines. But for today, I'm just going to do meals in state or their meals in state lunch. Okay, description is, and I don't have to add the description here because there's no asterisk right there. I'm just doing it just because that's how I personally do it. So we're going to do personal funds. So this location is going to be Lewis and Clark. Okay, I went to Cascade. And again, I'm going to have to fill out my time. So I'm just going to say 8 a.m. I got home at 5 p.m. Okay, I don't need to attach a receipt or anything else for that. So I'm just going to push save. Okay, I don't see that I have any errors. So now I'm going to push review and submit. And now here is where I am going to attach my travel authorization. So you see that I have 2 travel authorizations that I have put in that could be associated with this report. So I'm going to click in there. I'm going to find the one for today. So there's the 5/21. I'm going to associate that. So now I've officially attached my travel authorization to my report, and I'm going to push submit, and then I'm going to push submit. And then I have now officially submitted my travel and sent it to Megan and attached that travel authorization. Okay, so do you guys have any questions so far? Nope. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this home button, and I am going to show you how to submit um, the expense for my out-of-state travel. So we're kind of back at the home page now. So I am going to click the Create Expense Reports. Okay, so my description is going to be out-of-state travel related description. And it's going to be okay. So my expense location is Spokane County. All right. And since I can't do anything for the future, I'm going to just put it as today's date. The accounting date is going to be today's date. So obviously what you guys are going to do is if you're traveling out of state or whatnot, you're going to put this in after the fact. So you can put it in the day you get home. If there's nothing that would hit my wallet, it does take a couple of days to hit your receipts to hit my wallet. But, you know, I don't have a pro card, so, you know, I'm traveling tomorrow, but I shouldn't be putting this in until tomorrow. So we're going to put the accounting date as today. So this is kind of the fun new thing is where you can do add from quick fill. So I'm just going to put today's date and I'll do yesterday and today's. So what I can do is I can go down and I can find everything that I want to put into this this travel expense report right here. And I can add it for one day or I can add it for all days. So, if I had airline charges, I can put the airline charges and you can select, like one day for my airline charge. And of course, SABHRS is going to think on it for a minute. Okay, so I had lodging out of state, so I can select lodging out of state and I can select that one in there. I'm going to do meals and I'm going to do out of state all day overnight. So I'm going to select maybe that one for all days because say I'm going for a conference and the conference didn't provide any meals, so then I can do that. But if the conference did provide meals, then I would select the individual meals because it's only going to be one line, so you can't take out a meal at that point. But if they did, I can say like I need meals in state overnight dinner and breakfast, but they provided me lunch, so I can select those. So I'm going to select, I've got my lodging and I've got my meals and I've got my airlines. I've got my dates changed up here. I'm going to say my start time. I'm going to say 5 a.m. and my end time I'm going to put as maybe 9 p.m. So I'm going to push done. And then I'm going to go to update details. Okay, so this, after I did update details, it showed you that everything that I had selected came over here. Again, if you used your Pro card, you'd see like a little wallet up here, and you would select the wallet and then select what transactions that you have in your My Wallet, and those would automatically come over here just like the quick fill option did. So we're going to go here. We're going to start from the top and just clear out all of my flags and make sure that everything's correct. So you don't have to put a description here. It doesn't have an asterisk, but you can if you want. Okay, so we're going to just do personal funds. This is the amount that you get for all day meals out of state. So here you can see that it did just one line for all meals. And, so I can't take out the lunch if lunch was provided to you for that day. Okay, I'm gonna do Lewis and Clark. Okay, so we're gonna change my time here to 5 a.m. And I must have selected the wrong time, sorry. So 9 p.m. Okay, and then I push save just to make sure that that's all cleared out. Okay, that looked fine. Since I selected meals on all days, that will be perfect. So personal funds. There's my county. So this one you've got to watch because your end time is going to be 11:59 p.m. I'm going to change this one because this one should be 12 a.m. since I spent the night. So I left on the 20th, so I left at 5 o'clock in the morning, and since I'm spending the night, I'm going to put 11:59. So here's what I see a lot from especially some of the inspectors and stuff. If you are spending the night, your end time is not when you're done with your job on that day. It is 11:59 because you're still in travel status for that entire time. So from the time you walk out of your door at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're still in travel status until the very next day. So your end time is going to be 11:59, not like 5 o'clock when your conference get done or your inspection gets done or whatnot. So there's that. And then I'm going to push save. Okay, so here's the lodging. Okay, so for the description, this one you are going to have to put your description in because there's an asterisk that is right there. So we're going to put okay, and I'm just going to say, so there's my accounting meeting. So my number of nights, I am only staying one night. I'm saying that I used my own card. I'm going to do 135. I'm just kind of putting in the full amount. The merchant's going to be Holiday Inn. Okay, so my start time is going to be the 12 a.m. My end time is going to be the 11:59 p.m. Okay, so here we're going to attach my receipt. So I'm just going to attach, I have one on my desktop. And I'm just going to push open and we're going to upload that and then done. So because I was going to a conference at this point, I'm going to need to add somewhere on there the conference agenda. So I'm just going to attach it here because I'm already attaching my hotel receipt. So I'm just going to add my attachment, my device, and I'm just going to find one of the agendas and I'm going to open and then upload and then done. A lot of the times we don't care where you attach the agenda as long as the agenda is attached. So if you're going to a meeting that has an agenda or a conference, you will need to attach those agendas. So, and then we'll push done. All right, so now for this hotel, we are going to need to break out what the room rate was and what my taxes and fees were. So we're going to go to accounting. Oh, sorry. That's not what we wanted to do, sorry. We're going to go to split receipts. So on the split receipt, it's going to come up just like this. What we're going to do is we're going to start with your room rate. So this is going to be your lodging out of state. I'm going to say my room rate was 120. So that's just the rate. That doesn't have any, if you have any resort fees, taxes and fees, parking, you know, anything else that is attached to it. It's just the room rate. So we've got that all done and we're going to add a line. Okay. And so should also say here, we used to have to break this up per night. So if you stayed 2 nights, then you would have to fill out the room rate for both nights. Now we can combine them all. So if you've stayed 2 nights, your room rate's $120, then, you know, that amount's just going to be 240. We can, you know, kind of put them all in at the same time. So Okay, so my expense type, we're going to go to all types. I'm going to go to lodging, taxes, and fees out of state because we were out of state. Okay, the description is going to be the same description as above. And as you see here, my taxes and fees are coming out to $15. That's what's remaining after my room rate. You'll always want to do the math with your receipt just to make sure that everything's fine. But for this purpose, I'm just going to agree and say, yes, it's $15. And then I'm going to push done. Once you have a balance of 0 here, that means that you've split everything out correctly, and then you can push done. And then everything looks good there. So now we're going to do our airline. So we're going to do description. So there's our description. My payment was personal funds. We're going to say my amount was $500. My merchant was Delta. Okay, I'm going to Lewis and Clark. My ticket number. Okay, so my start time was 5 o'clock in the morning. My end time for this was 11:59 p.m. Okay, here you would have to attach your receipts. We'll just go and attach my device. And I'm just gonna attach something and then push upload and done. Okay, so you would be attaching your receipts and everything that comes with it. Just gonna push save. Oh, there you go. Okay, so it looks like I have one error still because of the red flag. Again, I know that because I push saved, and once you push save, it kind of resets and will show you what your errors are if you have any. So I'll click in there. Okay, so this is showing that I don't have a receipt attached. So I'm just gonna go in and attach that hotel receipt, even though we already attached it there. I just find that it's easier to attach the receipt in both places, but you can also go down to the bottom and there's like a no receipt where you can put in that it's, already been attached or whatnot. So we're just going to save everything. Looks like everything's great. I'm going to push review and submit. So this again is where you can put your travel authorization. Megan did not approve my travel authorization because she didn't want it to go to the commissioner, but I'm just gonna put in an old one, so I'm just gonna push associate. And then that means that everything's together and I can submit and submit. And then I am done with my travel. So you see here that it's waiting approval. At this point, Megan will get a email and then she can go in and approve it. Does anyone have any questions?
I've been answering as many questions as I could as Jamie was going, so I am trying to get everyone. But if you want to keep keep chatting the questions, and I'll go over how to approve real quick, and then I'll give us a little bit of time to answer questions live as well. So I am going to share my screen. Again, it's very similar to where, and sorry, my email for this is sorted to a different box because I get a lot of emails, because anytime a supervisor approves a report, we get an email on the accounting side. So you get a same email as you would with the travel authorization like I showed earlier. it'd be like this, but it would show Jamie's travel request. You can click on the link to approve and review your travel expense report, or you could come to your expense work center and it would be in your expense report approval process. I filtered just for Jamie because I see everybody's that have been submitted to accounting. So if you click on this link, this is just her mileage. You can review here. You can go out and review her, and then, you could review the accounting tags. This is, making sure that we are charging it to the correct, funding. You can also go here where you can go to your expense details, and this kind of gives you the view that the employee has when they're reviewing it. You can see the travel authorization that was attached. You can go here to view your details to see, like I said, sometimes this is an easier view for people to review as a supervisor, but you can see everything that she completed. And if you go back here to this page, you hopefully are going to return to the work center. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second, and then I'm going to get Jamie's report up. Up just so I can filter for just hers. Going to share my screen again. So you can see more requests that she has submitted as well, but we'll go back to this 8376. This is her mileage. Again, if everything looks good for you, you would do the same exact thing as the travel. And I'm not going to approve this one, but you would do select and hit approve. And then if you go back to your pending approvals, here's her out-of-state one. You can see all of the lines. Again, you can go to your expense details to see a better breakout and making sure that times have been updated, receipts, everything is on the report that you would need. You can also go into each line if you don't want to go to the expense to see the attachments as well. And then if everything is good, you would do a select all and hit approve. And once the supervisor approve, it comes to the accounting side for us to review and approve as well. So before I move on to some reminders, I wanted to show everyone something really quick. You go into your expenses, and again, in your expense work center, every employee has these user guides available right here. And there's one for the travel authorization, expense report, the supervisor, and these are updated by DOA. So though it's a good tool because as they make changes to the system, because they've kind of been making updates as more agencies have been added to this module in SABHRS. So they just recently updated them on 430. They're great resources. They take you step by step on how to create, starting from the very beginning of what Jamie just did. So they're great user guides as well. And there's one for travel guide. The expense, again, same thing, goes over everything that Jamie went through. So they're also a good resource for anyone that is filling out reports. And then I'm going to do one more plug before we open it up to questions. We are getting, and I'll go back to the chat too and answer some questions, but we are getting close to fiscal year end. So the end of the fiscal year is June 30th. So if everyone, including employees and supervisors, could go look in, and I can show you. If you have a pro card, make sure that you have no transactions in your wallet, that everything has been submitted for the year. And then if you go to, like, as an employee, not as a supervisor, but if you go into your expense reports, make sure everything has been submitted to us so we can get them processed before the books close. It is helpful to look both under returned and not submitted. Anything that's in this awaiting approval has been submitted to your supervisor for approval. And then for supervisors, if you go to your work center, it's a good spot to just make sure that you have everything out there and there's nothing pending. So if we could do that, that would be amazing because we are getting real close to June 30th. So I'm gonna let Erin take back over and I'll keep working on the chat.
Thank you. As you guys have questions, we will do our best, and by we, I don't mean me. We'll do our best to answer. Thankfully for all of you, I won't be really answering too much. I am learning a lot about T&E, but not enough to be helpful, just enough to be dangerous at this point. So as you have questions, please go ahead and share them in the chat, or if you'd like to ask live, raise your hand, or you can unmute yourselves if it's quiet, and go ahead and feel free to ask questions. Like Megan said, we're going to be working on a frequently asked questions page, and we'll be posting that eventually in the hub to make things a little bit easier on everybody and help you find the answers you're looking for instead of waiting for us to answer. So we're excited to work on that, and we appreciate your questions. We're going to be using these to put that list together. And the meeting next week as well will be essentially the same presentation, opening questions up. So please feel free to share with your neighbors and coworkers and who might have missed today, but be interested in attending next week.
I'm going to jump really quick because there was two things I was going to show. I'm going to show two things very quickly from the chat. One person asked how to get set up as a proxy. So as me as an employee, if I want to have someone else do reports on my behalf, if you go to your expense work center and you go down to the other section, there should be a delegate entry proxy. So here I can say, okay, I don't know C numbers off the top of my head. If I want Jamie to be able to complete reports on my behalf, I would add Jamie's line and hit save. So then she could go out and do reports on my behalf. And so that's how you would get set up as a proxy. And SABHRS is spinning like crazy. So it likes to think a lot. So that is one way. And then I wish this wasn't spinning. Maybe I'll do it this way. I'm going to open a different browser. There is one way if you guys want to update the accounting tags at once, and I'll just show you really quick. If I'm going to create an expense report, if you update your accounting defaults in the header screen, it should update all of the accounting tags throughout your whole report. I think that's all the things I would show so far.
Can you repeat that? What does that mean?
The accounting tags?
Yeah.
That's where you charge your let me share. That's where you charge all your expenses to. Most people never have to touch this. So like me, this is where my coding for where I charge items to. But if I wanted to change it, like if I wanted to charge to C10, I could change it there, and then that would update it to change where everything is coded to for your entire travel report. You, Randy, probably would never have to change anything because it's usually you charge to HR. Yep.
Yep.
But there's some of us that charge to various things. So you could just change it here. And then once I don't have everything entered, so it's going to give me a bunch of errors. Once you update that, then for every expense line you create on your report, it'll do the new coding that you entered in the header versus having to go every line of your expense report.
Megan, I have one that's kind of ready for one of the questions on here. So yeah, I'm gonna share my screen really quick for you guys. So if you've already added your lines and you need to like go back in and change something, or you just forgot to update your accounting tag, you can go in to here and then you just type in accounting tag or accounting. I'm going to change my value. I'm going to say it's going to be this. And then you can update your accounting. When you do that though, your account number does disappear, so you will have to put that back in there, your account code. Um, but if you do it, if you've already, added your lines and you need to go back and change something, you'll have to go line by line. So if I had like my hotel or whatnot, if I change it just on the meals out of state, I'm going to have to click on the next one and change it on there too. So if you're already created your lines and you need to go back and change it, you can. You have to do it line by line, and it's just right here in that accounting, if that makes sense.
We have just a couple of minutes left. If you are still asking questions in the chat, please keep doing that, and we will endeavor to answer them even after the meeting has concluded. You'll be able to read the chat in the future and see the answers to those questions. And like I said, we'll also be using those for the FAQ, anything that works in there. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to give a special thanks to Jamie and to Megan for working with us, showing us that process from both sides. I think that's really beneficial to see from the employee side and the supervisor side, and all of their expertise and experience understanding how the system works. They're working that every single day. We'll be putting the recording on the hub. And like I said, we'll have another one next week. So if you enjoyed this so much and want to join us one more time, we will be back here, same time, same place.